Good evening, everyone. We'll give folks some time to join us here. Good evening. Thanks for joining. We'll get started here in about one more minute. Give folks a chance to get in the room. We are recording this as well, and it'll be available on the website afterwards. Perfect. A couple more people joining here. We will, as always, leave the chat open throughout the meeting. So if you have questions or comments or observations as we're going, feel free to drop those in. And then we will make sure we pause in between each of the sections of the meeting to leave room for questions. Okay, looks like we've got everyone out of the waiting room at this point. So we'll go ahead and jump in because we got a lot to cover tonight. And all of this, again, will live online for those who want to share this with neighbors afterwards. So my name is Michael Aiken. I'm president of Link Strategic Partners. I'm here with a couple of my colleagues, Poppy, Angela, and Kennedy. We have the real honor of being the community engagement partners to Montgomery College, making sure your voice continues to be heard in these processes. And it's a role we take very seriously. We, as always, have Dr. Brad Stewart here from the college, and we appreciate his leadership on these issues, as well as Carrie Norberg, the planning and design director, who's going to be speaking to us a bit later on the master facilities plan. Then we have Dave and Paul from Barton Mello, who are going to be talking to us about the Leggett building part of construction tonight, and Joe and Matt from Gilbane, who are going to be talking to us about the library and resource center. Next slide, please. So we've met, most of you have been through these before. We got 3 sections to the meeting. We're going to start in the Leggett building, review where we are, what's upcoming. We'll pause at that point for any questions. We'll then go to the library and resource center and do the same thing. And then we'll end today with an update on the master facilities plan and the next steps regarding that process. Excellent. So next slide, I'll turn it over to my friend Dave to jump in on the Leggett building.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening, everybody. So we'll give an update on the Catherine Isaiah Leggett building construction. As Michael mentioned, we'll talk about the current construction project status, do a progress update, and then kind of talk the current logistics for the project. So we'll start with kind of where we are, and here's some pictures of the progress we've made since the last meeting. You can see there's a little bit of the green brown grass, if you will, with the sod on the right that we've put down. The exterior of the building is looking more finished. Sidewalks have gone down. Some of the landscaping has gone in. And you might notice that there were some generators and HVAC systems sitting outside. On the last update, those were all gone as the building is now running on its permanent power and its permanent HVAC systems. And then we finished all of the paving since the last update also. So look at a couple more exterior pictures. You go to the next slide, please. So obviously the last picture is without snow. We have some aerials, that occurred just after the last snowstorm. You can see on the picture on the left, even with the snow, you can see a little bit of the landscaping poking through kind of the bioretention pond at the bottom left. You can kind of see the terraced seating or terraced areas on the right-hand side of that picture going up the hill adjacent to the steps. And you can, in the picture on the right, you can see the other view of that same terraced area looking down onto the green space for the project is designed. Some other exterior pictures, a couple more without snow. On the left is that the stairs that go down adjacent to the building with those terraced areas I was just talking about for plans. Gives a really nice look and a feel, to the new building. The picture in the middle at the bottom is just kind of looking down those steps as the landscaping was going in. And then the picture on the right shows a sidewalk, with the site lighting in. The majority of our site lighting is wired and lighting at night. So we're testing all those systems and really moving forward with those finishes, trying to finish those up. These pictures talk about finishing the site work also. So the concrete paving at the main entrance, these pictures are a little older, but you can see all the concrete is down in front. We'll talk later about logistics because we're using those entrances adjacent to that concrete. And then the picture on the right shows another another view of those steps cascade down on the side of the building, and then the bioponds on the right. And you'll see those bioponds in this case were temporarily kind of filling some water. This was after some rain. And if you remember the intent of those, we talked about during the design process and then early construction, they help improve water quality and reduce the amount of water going to the stormwater system from what it was before the construction of the new building. Wanted to talk a little bit about the parking lot off of Takoma Avenue. So we have this site plan up. You can see it on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. We, as we discussed, we put off all paving and everything we could to, limit access from Takoma Avenue into this parking lot as long as we could. And we started headed into winter, and when paving plants were shutting down, the asphalt paving plants. So we put all of that work in. And currently the only people that will be using that lot will be the landscaping materials for that area of the lot that you can't get to from any other side of the site, as well as we have to do some testing of the windows. So there's a lift down there that's already parked down there that we're using again to test those windows. And when the greenhouse people come in to start up their greenhouse, they may have some trucks that they need to bring some materials in through there. Very small trucks. A box truck will show later. At worst case, probably just pickup trucks. But those would be the only people that need to access our site, and we'll continue to provide notices through the weekly updates so there's no surprises to anybody for that access area. Paul, you want to take it away with the interior photos?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially on a day like today, it's a little chilly. I'll definitely take the heated spaces. So, as David mentioned, the interiors are progressing certainly hot and heavy. The majority of the photos we'll see tonight are the upper floors. So, typically in construction, is what you want to do is work your way out of the building, so you're minimizing foot and material or equipment traffic through the corridors. So, these photos are from our second floor. So, it's the top floor of Leggett. Photo on the left shows one of the main corridors. You can see on the ground, you have the blue painter's tape and the cardboard. That's temporary floor protection. Under there, we have vinyl flooring that's been installed. You obviously see that the permanent lighting is installed and functioning as well as different wires. It might be difficult to see in the left photo, but you can see kind of on the right side running parallel with the length of the corridors. AV and IT cabling that's been installed. So the college has brought in their final installers to start on some of that final parts and smarts work that will get the building functioning from an IT and AV standpoint and talking to itself and other buildings as needed. Photo on the right is kind of facing, it'll be difficult to see, but on the farthest window to the right, that's Takoma Ave. So we're facing, due south on this one. Again, you can see finished areas, finished paint on the wall. Difficult to see, but you can see there's finished carpet installed under that temporary protection. With this being a STEM, based academic building, and the design that was brought forth with having some of the open concept ceiling systems. You can see how we're knocking down some of that noise using some architectural baffles to try to keep some of that noise in the spaces and not creeping out. The photo on the right you can see is a general gang bathroom. So we have terrazzo down on the floors, we have tile on the walls, we have toilet plumbing fixtures hanging off the walls and that are operating with water right now. So definitely getting a much more finished feel in these spaces. The next slide will show us some of the lab spaces and teaching spaces. So the photo on the left is a typical lab laboratory room for us, classroom for us. You can see we have mobile tables installed. That's the white metal tables you can see with the gray tops on. We have service panels that are sitting on those tables. I believe we have another photo in here that'll show, but those tables, the white, if you will call it rectangle square box that's sitting on there gets different services. So whether it's air, vacuum, pure water, gas, AV, IT, anything like that, power, they can string them down from the top of the ceiling, so you're not tripping over a million cords while you're trying to conduct your classwork or an experiment. Center photo is just more of a standard teaching room. Again, finished flooring, finished paint on the walls. You can see we have some ceiling tile that's remaining open. The reason we do that is we still have to get and do a test and balance of the system. So we have to go and essentially balance or calibrate the water systems and the air systems in the building. So we'll typically leave out some ceiling tiles for the meantime to give access to those valves and different dampers and different HVAC type equipment to do our final testing and check out. And the photo on the right is again similar to the one on the left. More of a finished lab room. You can obviously see the fixed casework, the wooden casework that's been installed and mounted to the walls on the right side of the photo. And again, just some of the mobile casework that can be moved around and make these different classrooms as functional as possible. All right, here again, a couple other areas. Photo on the left shows, again, one of the larger meeting rooms. You can see we have X's placed on the glass towards the farther end of the room. So we do have interior glass and glazing that's been going in and being installed. And again, here you can see, just again, a much more finished space, ceiling tiles installed, floorings in, protected, and glass and glazing is in. Photo on the right, demonstrates more of an office type setting in the building. So again, this is on one of the upper floors, but we can see that carpet has been down. It has not been protected at the time of this picture, but we wanted to get a good photo showing the final carpet before we covered it up with the brown paper bag, if you will. So, again, working our way top down, second floor to first floor to ground floor, and working our way outside of the building. Next slide, if Mr. Harold's on here, I'm sure he's going to be excited, but this is showing our planetarium. So on the left side, this is the skyfold partition or operable partition that could be raised or lowered to increase the capacity of any kind of event that's going on in regards to the planetarium. The planetarium itself, you can see in a much so on the left photo has the window down or the skyfold door down. Once you open it, this is the view you see on the right side. So the planetarium, the erection of the actual parts and pieces of it has been completed. Spitz, the installing contractor, actually just remobilized very recently, and they're working on their programming and getting their parts and smarts. So they're different components, projectors, computers, all the fancy tech widgets to get installed, programmed, and coordinated and commissioned to ensure that they're all working together and talking together to provide a top-notch final product for us.
Thanks, Paul. Some definite exciting pictures, for the progress that we've made, and it's getting closer all the time. And that brings us right into the schedule kind of overview. In the middle part of that section, as I had mentioned earlier, we're working on the building interiors and the final site work, kind of trying to button everything up. We're on track so that next couple months the college will be able to bring in their furniture to prep for that fall semester that everybody's shooting for. So we're moving right along and things are looking right on target for where we need to be. Next slide, please. Go ahead, Paul.
All right, so some of the upcoming work, so we've obviously seen some of the work that's been put in place, but some of the upcoming work that's either going to start or be completed. So laboratory casework we saw, so fume hoods, different equipment has been delivered to the job site. Again, working our way down top to bottom. We're doing our final install and pre-checklist or pre-checkout in some of the lower floors. So laboratory casework, woodwork, metal casework, equipment and all that fun stuff is continually every day being installed and fired up. Mechanical electrical startup is substantially complete. We've gone through the startup process, obviously, on our main switchgear to energize the building, as well as our HVAC equipment to climatize the building. So We do have some final tweaks, as I had mentioned earlier, with testing and balancing and doing our final tweaks on the systems, but we are essentially self-sufficient right now by using permanent power and utility means rather than the temporary generators and backup systems we were previously using. As David mentioned earlier, we were still doing our exterior building envelope, so windows, roof, wrapping up those items. Primarily what we're doing is kind of the longest lead item is now testing of all those systems. So we physically will have to get some equipment out there, essentially a fan and a hose that sprays against an opening for X amount of time. And we measure any kind of air leakage or water infiltration. So we will be kind of continuing around the building in kind of a counterclockwise pattern, kind of chasing the glass and testing it and signing it off. Same goes for exterior doors. We have a handful of exterior doors that still need to be installed, only a couple remaining, but that'll be buttoning up the building as well. Trying to take advantage of any promising weather day we can to get our landscaping finalized. We have a handful of trees that still need to be planted. We've been working with the arborists and the design team and everybody to make sure we're putting them in the ground at the right time, so we're not harming any of the trees or plantings. Exterior lighting, we showed a couple photos there. That is substantially complete as well. Some of the upcoming testing that we're going to be conducting is going to be fire alarm testing. So essentially what we have to do, prior to final inspections and final sign off from the county is to perform inspections with elevators, power outages, and fire alarm systems. So we will have to be ringing the systems. And when I say ringing, it's activating the horns and the strobes so you can see the flashing lights and, hear the request to exit the building. Those tests are not a 15 or 20-minute test. They will take a relatively extended period of time to test. 99.9% of these tests will be mainly impacting the interior of the building. We might have some noise coming from the testing that we're doing, but again, it's all these devices are housed within the building. We'll make sure that exterior doors are closed to minimize any kind of noise pollution that activity will present. And the last but not least, again, is opening up the some of the AV and IT rooms to the college. They have their final install, so as different furniture comes in, like David mentioned, those will have to get tied in and final hookup. So the college has started on that process and will be finalized in a couple months once the building is all furnished.
We get to go back look at some of those cold snow pictures again from our aerials. So the logistics wise, I mentioned earlier, we got all of our paving done at the front entrance, and everything else we can't drive on anymore. So we have 3 entrances for the plans that are approved. They're all open and used to different levels. We still have everybody going out back through Fenton. The first entrance on the top right is also used by the college for their maintenance shop also. But again, that's our main and really, only point of entrance now, and that's what we're using. And again, taking everybody back out through Fenton. If you go to the next slide, you'll notice we have most of the same trucks you've had before. Again, a pickup truck, a flatbed is shown there. Concrete trucks will be very minimal moving forward. Maybe there's a concrete pad that he's placed or a curb touched up, but we will not have any more major concrete pours or placements on this project. And then that box truck that's shown on the right, those are really the deliveries left, and we're slowly dwindling down even on those as we rapidly approach the end, if you will. So with that, Michael, I think we can open it up to questions.
Awesome. The snow pictures were fun. We had a question about will the pictures be posted? And yes, the full presentation will be posted soon after this meeting. And then there's a question on when will Samsung Flip monitors be installed?
Yeah, those, and Paul, you can correct me you know, it's more accurate, but that's going to be a little bit as you saw the pictures where we have ceiling tile out. So we really don't want to put those things in where they're going to be in a spot where they can be compromised. So those will be some of the last things to go in.
Excellent. Are there other questions or follow-up questions? Feel free to raise your virtual hand or wave at me or come off mute or drop it into the meeting chat if you've got any additional questions on the Leggett building. Bill Wood, take it away, sir. You just go ahead and come off mute there. There you go. Good to go.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just have a quick question, and maybe you touched on this, but if you did, I missed it. When is this building going to be put into service?
Excellent question. Dave?
That's what we talked about. It's planning for to be open for the fall semester.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. That's
Thank you, Bill.
exciting.
It is, absolutely. Valerie?
Just following up on the monitors, will we be able to get into the building over the summer so faculty can be trained? And I'm not sure if you can answer that, and then another question is the windows. I heard that was an issue. Is that being resolved?
Yeah, I mean, so I answered the good questions. I answered the second one first. Yes, the windows are still in progress. They're, Paul talked about the finishes that are going on. We don't have any leaks within the building. Just some finish work that we have to, progress on. And I'm sure that as we get a little farther along, the college will be talking to all faculty and everything about training sessions and activating the building to get in there. So definite timeframes on that yet, probably.
Yeah, well, that would be me organizing that. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
What about the Science Learning Center? Last I heard it would be opening in the fall. Any chance we can get that in the summer?
Again, sorry, go ahead, Michael.
No, I was going to say, are those questions better for the college, or if you've got an answer, Dave, by all means. But
Yeah,
Dr.
probably for
Stewart,
the college.
Dr. Stewart, anything you want to add to that around timeline for when
Well, it
faculty
depends
might have
on when Dave and Paul hand me the keys. And then I anticipate being in there with the whole crew to get everything doing. Lisa Thomas may know when, may have a good idea about when the furniture is supposed to arrive. The Math and Science Learning Center will be primarily a furniture operation with some additional IT equipment in there. And I'm not quite sure when that'll be finished either. Do you have any, Lisa, any information on when the computers will be installed in that room?
Hey,
Well,
Brett,
sorry.
this is Susan. I think these are all important questions, but maybe we can have an internal staff meeting of sorts and start working through these so all the appropriate folks can plan.
Sounds like a good plan. These are the right questions, and we'll make sure we're documenting all of those so that there can be an internal meeting around how you get in there and get this ready for the fall semester. Other questions here? Comments? Okay, and if you've got questions on this project as we move to the other project, just keep dropping them into chat and we can absolutely come back to them. So thank you, Barton Mallow. So let's move on here to the next section of our meeting, which is in the Library Resource Center. And we've got our friends from Gilbane who are going to take this one. Take it away.
Thank you, Michael, and good evening, everybody. I'm here to give an update on the Library and Resource Center. Our agenda is going to be similar to some of the last forums. We're going to go through the project scope of work. We're going to go through some progress photos and show you some of the completed work. There's some exciting stuff to show there. We're going to also talk about some upcoming work and activities. And of course, we'll go through the overall project timeline. So a little bit about the project. Some of you have seen this slide in previous sessions, but just to give everybody an idea, the renovation of the Library and Resource Center is really being done to modernize the library in general. It's going to increase safety and ADA compliance in the library. And of course, it'll make for better facilities for the library staff and students. Some of the design directives, we are retaining the current size of the building, with the only exceptions being the existing main entrance that will still be oriented towards the math pavilion. It's not changing its entryway. That'll be a little bit larger to take care of any water that's entering the building. And the electrical corridor down on the lower level was a sidewalk to the exterior of the building and now is enclosed. The height of the building, as I stated earlier, will remain the same. And any changes to the building facade and main entry will respect the neighborhood. And you'll see that from some of our photos, as well as the mitigating of the light spill and some of our rendering photos upcoming. With that, the rendering photo. So as you can see, this is the New York Avenue side of the building. You can see it's pretty much similar color. The windows are very minimal on this side of the building to mitigate any light spill that would go into the surrounding neighborhoods. And the height of the building, of course, is the same as well. So minimal changes to the building facade on New York Avenue to respect the neighborhood community. This is a good rendering showing it when it'll be completed. Some of our construction directives. Adherence to noise is something we're very strict on and enforcing on a daily basis on the construction job. Some of the things we're employing to make noise as minimal as possible for a construction project. We're making sure all the exhaust systems of construction vehicles are new. We're also not allowing any construction vehicles to park on New York or Chicago avenues. We'll go through our logistics plan that can kind of graphically show that a little better. And then temporary parking for delivery vehicles are going to take place on the cutouts on New York Avenue. It's adjacent to the Nunley Student Services Building. And that's where basically all our deliveries have been occurring from the beginning of the project. Next slide. All work is being coordinated with city and county requirements and WSSC. And one thing to note on this slide that's been added, we do have cameras on the exterior of the building itself. Of course, the college has security on the campus, but we also added security in addition to that, just at the construction job. And these have been very effective. I spoke about this a little bit earlier. This is kind of a graphic showing where the blue is showing where we're allowing construction vehicles. You can see on the left-hand side at the top, that's the parking garage on Fenton Avenue. Construction workers park there on the 5th floor. They walk down and enter the site on New York Avenue. All the areas that are hashed out in red are no parking, no driving areas to all contractors on site. So as stated before, we are backing down into the job site and then pulling out and making a left turn and going right out on Fenton Avenue. The photo on the right there is one of a sample parking pass that we're giving parking passes to our contractors to make sure we can see all the vehicles in neighborhoods and which ones are associated with our project to make sure none park there. So one activity we do have upcoming in February, and some of this is WSSC dependent. We have contacted them. They will get back to us with their schedule. But right now, we have completed the water line tie-in work, the new water line. What we have left is the abandonment of the existing water line. And the reason I'm showing this slide is mainly to represent that during the abandonment of that water line, we will have a 1-lane closure for approximately 4 days. As you can see from this image, we will have flaggers on each side and cones, similar to the last time we closed this lane for the water line work. And you can see a picture of where the vac truck will actually be in the road. The vac truck is needed to excavate the soil. There's no way with all the existing utilities you can get a piece of equipment in there, so it will be vacked out. We do feel like this work will be 4 days total. WSSC will come out on February the 5th. They'll actually exercise the valves and then provide proper notification. And I'll be giving updates starting daily next week to the college to give the exact day this work will occur. Some upcoming work. Exterior wall panels and windows will continue. We'll show some of those in our photos upcoming. Our exterior concrete ramp and walls will be poured, finishing up in January. That'll be the last of our concrete work. Mechanical electrical commissioning will begin, and it'll go on until April of 2024. Painting and interior finishes have started, and they're going to go on until March of 2024. You'll see from some of our photos, we've got the new elevator installed, and that should be complete and inspected today. Abandonment of the existing water line we spoke about in the previous slide, but that will occur in February in the next couple of weeks. And structural steel will be ongoing in the next couple of weeks as well. Some exterior progress photos. To the left-hand side, you can see the waterproofing membrane. And if you look up around the windows, the blue colored material is part of the air and water barrier system. That's actually serves as the waterproofing on the exterior building there. You can also notice from the right-hand photo, some progression in that exact area. The waterproofing has been tested, inspected, and now we've got our insulation up and furring strips to install metal panels. You may also notice from that photo, we've also got the windows in. So the left-hand side is just showing you some progress. These are both photos of the north elevation. And on the left-hand side, when we took down the old panels, that entire masonry corner was gone from that corner of the building. There was no tie into the roof. So we had to completely rebuild that entire corner of the building up to the roof. And then you can see on the right-hand side, that's just to the right of that photo where we've now not only waterproofed and had it inspected, but we also have the insulation, furring strips, and wall paneling system proceeding. Some more exterior progress photos. As you can see, we've made substantial progress on the exterior storefront system. Left-hand side, you'll see just a little corner office area with some windows in it. In the center photo is the south elevation, just kind of giving you a side angle showing the windows and the glazing being installed. And then on the right-hand side is just a few steps back of the same south elevation, kind of getting a better view, looking through the glass, seeing some of the sconce lighting on the inside, the pendant lighting on the inside. Some exterior progress on the left-hand side. This is the last area of enclosure we have left. We talked about the concrete pours in an earlier slide. We have one more pour left at this exterior entrance on the left. And then on the right-hand side, this is actually the north elevation we just looked at previously. We had some structural steel work that we also found that wasn't tied in from the 50s or earlier renovations that we had to remedy prior to framing that up. But of course, now that's all been framed, sheathed, waterproofed, insulated, and metal and panels have started on it as well. Some interior progress photos. To the left is a new stair. As you can see, we've got the stair done. We've got the concrete poured in the pans. We've got the metal railings up. We've got the stainless steel rail up as well. We've just got some final painting and touch up to do in that area for that stair, and that stair will be done. On the right-hand side, it's about 2 weeks ago, a picture of the elevator looking down. As you can see, the platform and car being assembled. At this point, the door openings are done, the call stations are on, and the elevator's operational. Just getting final inspection. Some more interior progress photos. This has progressed substantially since the last time we held this forum. Left-hand side is the first floor. And as you can see, we've got all the grid installed. We've got lighting functioning. We've got our mechanical systems functioning. We're just working on some final loose ends and above ceiling inspections. And then we'll be closing up the ceiling tile in that area in the coming weeks. On the right-hand side is a shot of the second floor. As you can see, all the ceiling tiles have been installed. All the above ceiling mechanical systems are operational. And the ceiling tiles you see out are strategically placed so we can do our commissioning, where we'll actually have the engineers go up and actually check every single mechanical unit to make sure it's operating properly and has the most energy efficient setting as possible. Some more interior progress photos. To the left is a 2-story space. Right as you enter the building, you'll see. You can see some of the beautiful pendant lighting that's hanging down low. There will be a bench installed in that center triangular and then rectangular space you see right down by the lift. So this is going to be a real inviting space on the southwest side of the building. The right-hand photo is just another angle looking at that space. And as you can see, there's a second story look over you can see walking up on the second floor spaces, and it'll overlook this beautiful area in the library that has the pendant lighting. It's really coming along. These are just some photos showing that we have started some of the finishes. Left-hand side is the beginning of the tile installation. And then the right-hand side, they're finishing up the installation. They've got the mosaic tile in up high there, as you can see, and all the rough ends done for the plumbing fixtures. We have now started mounting some of those plumbing fixtures, and toilet partitions will be installed next week. So we're progressing well. It's another interior photo. This is a really nice space as well. This again is looking on the inside from the south elevation. And as you can see, nearly this entire elevation is storefront to let natural lighting in. We're currently now finishing up all the window testing. And as you can see, the drywall contractor is getting ready to hang the drywall where you see the pink insulation in the photos and the metal stud right in front of the windows. That's all getting closed up in the coming weeks. Some of the common equipment you'll see on site, the exterior lift to the left is basically used to manage equipment around the job site. So that you'll see that here till the end of April, moving equipment around the job site. One of the more common vehicles to the upper right corner is the roll-off delivery dumpster truck. We usually get these twice a week. We back them down off New York Avenue and enter in the construction site, which we'll show you a picture of in upcoming slides. And the bottom two pictures are some common vehicles that enter the site. The one to the bottom left is a stake body truck, and we typically try to break our deliveries down with the limited access to on a smaller truck to make sure we have the least impact as possible getting in and out of our lanes to back down in. And then on the right-hand side is a typical van. You'll typically see a mechanical or electrical contractor drive in, and you'll see those backing in the job site as well. Here's some more photos of some of the equipment on site. To the left is the drywall delivery truck. As you can see, it's back down off of New York Avenue within the construction site. We are nearly complete all drywall deliveries, but a similar size truck will be some of our flooring and casework deliveries that will occur in the coming months. The center photo is the roll-off dumpster. As you can see, that's off of New York Avenue within the construction fenced area. And then two other pieces of equipment to the right. The scissor lift to the right top is something we're going to be using for the next month. Very minimal sound from that equipment. You will not hear it from the outside of the building. And that's mainly just used so we can get to the two-story spaces and hang drywall and paint and other activities. And then at the bottom right, now this was earlier from construction, but it's an electric backhoe that we used on the inside of the building. We are going to be employing this when we do the New York side concrete pour ramp and handicap entrance. We're going to use an electric backhoe to minimize the noise that would be closest to New York Avenue. So that's the reason for showing it in this photo. Overall timeline. As you can see where we currently are, we're kind of wrapping up the building envelope. We're working on the interior renovation. We've got some finishes started. You probably noticed from some of the photos, we've got many of the walls painted and of course the ceilings installed. And then we're going to be working on finish up the site here in the coming month. And we're looking at a fourth quarter building completion. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions here, folks? I'm not seeing any in the chat, so feel free to raise your hand or jump in. It's quite a comprehensive presentation, which was great. Any questions here on the Library Center project? Library and Resource Center project? Okay, so what we'll do is, again, keep the chat open, and if you got any, drop them in, and we'll go from there. So the third section of this meeting is around the Facilities Master Plan, and for that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Carrie Norberg. Carrie.
Yeah, good evening. We did present the Facility Master Plan to our Board of Trustees on the 24th of January. And as you can see here, we have listed all the public meetings that we had leading up to the development of the Facility Master Plan. So as I stated, we did submit it and it was approved. Now we will submit to the state on February 1st. After we submit, then we will post it on our FMP Facility Master Plan website.
Excellent. Thank you, Carrie. It was an efficient update. I appreciate that. And one of the things we really wanted to express is just how much the community feedback has been essential in this. There's been a lot of meetings and a lot of sessions in a period where there's been a lot of engagement around other things like our two projects today. And so just thank you for all of the community input into this. It's really been reflected in the final documents, which will be posted when they're done. Any questions on the Facilities Master Plan? Okay, so let me show you one more thing here, and then we'll do one last call for questions. This is where everything lives. So the deck from tonight that includes all the images that folks have been asking for, that will be on here. If you look at the mcblogs montgomerycollege.edu/building-projects, you'll find everything there. And then there's a project hotline on the bottom left. If you have questions, concerns about anything that's happening on the site, please call it in there for a prompt addressing of the concern. And Poppy has dropped this into the chat as well, so you have that handy. Any last calls for questions or feedback here? Okay. So with that, I want to thank you all for spending part of your evening. We don't take for granted how much it takes to spend part of your evening with us. Please share this information with your neighbors, and we will follow up with any questions. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.